Welcome to Bowden Construction. We're glad you're here. In the early 1940s, William H. Bowden founded Bowden Construction Company, settling in the Tyler area of East Texas. His primary business consisted of installing natural gas compressor stations. Growing steadily and seeking new opportunities, William Bowden looked west. He pulled up stakes and moved to the Permian Basin, the Odessa, Texas area. There, his son Billy Bowden and a young chemical engineer named Otis Hunter bought the company. Business continued to grow, and by the early 1950s, Otis Hunter bought out Billy Bowden and incorporated. Forward now to 1994, when Mr. Hunter's sons purchased the company from their dad and are today the present owners. Bowden Construction is primarily involved in the layout and construction of gas processing plants, refineries, CO2 and gas compressor stations, metering facilities, cryogenic plants, distribution and gathering facilities, and pump stations. Bowden Construction is currently owned by Jim Hunter, President, and Jeff Hunter, Vice President. Miss Debbie Faltis is the company's office manager, and Jeffrey Hunter serves as the safety coordinator.
Hello, my name is Jeff Hunter. I'm the Vice President at Bowden Construction Company. I'd like to welcome you to our organization. We've got a good safety record here at Bowden Construction Company, and over time we feel like we've established a safety record that we're really proud of. At the same time, we feel like our corporate safety record is a reflection of each individual employee's personal safety record. With that in mind, please listen carefully to the remainder of the information, and I'd like to welcome you again to Bowden Construction Company.
Our company carries workers' compensation insurance to ease financial burdens in case you are injured. Workers' compensation coverage provides for limited weekly compensation when disabled, and payments toward hospital and doctor's costs, specific injuries, and certain death benefits. Workers' compensation insurance is paid for by the company. If you are unable to do your job, or if you are taking any medication which might affect your ability to do your job, you must inform your supervisor immediately. If a supervisor believes you are not fit to perform your duties, you may be relieved of some of your duties, assigned other duties, sent home, requested to take a medical examination, asked for an explanation, or requested to undergo a drug screening to determine your fitness for duty. Any employee who refuses to cooperate with this policy will be subject to disciplinary action. Every effort will be made to find suitable light-duty work consistent with the instructions of the employee's physician. A doctor's written release is required before the employee's regular job duties can be assumed. Employees who fail to advise the company when they are available for light duty are considered to have abandoned the job and will be automatically terminated. Your immediate supervisor is the person to turn to with your problems, questions, and suggestions. Your supervisor is responsible for day-to-day operations, priorities, and workload of your department. You will find your immediate supervisor is anxious to have you become a satisfied and valuable team member. Your supervisor will explain your job and what is expected of you. If there is anything you don't understand, don't hesitate to ask questions. We realize that sometimes small problems, misunderstandings, or differences of opinion can cause a conflict on the job. Our policy is to maintain an open door to our employees. In most cases, you and your supervisor should be able to work out a prompt, equitable solution. If a satisfactory settlement is not reached at this level, simply advise your supervisor that you wish to take the matter to a higher level and necessary arrangements will be made. Problems should be presented properly through our chain of command and will be addressed. It is our policy to prohibit weapons and firearms on company property and the possession of weapons or firearms by employees while on company business. Company property includes buildings, work areas, desks, parking lots, recreation facilities, equipment, and vehicles. Company property includes company-owned, leased, or operated vehicles of any kind. This policy is intended to promote the safety and security of employees and the general public. Any suspected violations of this policy must be reported immediately to your supervisor. Employees who violate this policy will be subject to appropriate discipline, including termination of employment. An employee who comes to work under the influence of alcohol, inhalants, illegal drugs, or other intoxicants, or who uses alcohol, inhalants, or drugs illegally while at work, is guilty of a major violation of our company rules and is subject to disciplinary action. This behavior is a safety hazard and will not be tolerated. In addition, the use, purchase, possession, transfer, or sale of any illegal substance or associated paraphernalia on company property, whether on or off duty, is strictly prohibited. The sale, purchase, transfer, concealment, transportation, use, or possession of contraband by any employee represents a threat to the health, safety, and well-being of all employees, customers, clients, and property, as well as to the traveling public, and is therefore strictly prohibited. All applicants will, as a pre-qualification condition for employment, be subject to drug and alcohol testing. Employee consent to submit to drug and/or testing is required as a condition of employment, and employee refusal to consent may result in disciplinary action up to and including discharge. Any employee involved in a Department of Transportation reportable accident will provide an alcohol test within 2 hours of the incident and a drug test within 32 hours. All employees who may be involved in or contributed to an accident requiring medical attention will also undergo drug and alcohol testing. Refer to your policy manual for more information. The general appearance of our workplace is a direct reflection of how much individual pride we take in our surroundings and in our jobs. Good housekeeping also helps reduce accidents and adds to the efficiency of our job operations. Walkways must be kept clean and clear of all materials, cartons, electrical cords, or other personal belongings. Any liquid spills or leaks should be cleaned up immediately. Refer to your policy manual for more information. All work-related accidents and injuries, no matter how minor, should be reported to your supervisor immediately. If you are involved in an automobile accident, we require that you notify police and complete an accident report. Notify your supervisor. Obtain all information including the names and addresses of any witnesses. If possible, preserve broken parts, damaged equipment, or any other evidence. Do not negotiate the settlement of any claim, regardless of which party is at fault. You and your supervisor are to complete a written report for all accidents and injuries. Safety planning and practices for commonplace tasks, such as materials handling, should be as thorough as planning for operations with unusual hazards. Such tasks make up the greater part of our daily activities and, not unexpectedly, offer greater potential for accidents. We provide eye and face protective devices to all employees when there is a reasonable probability that eye or facial injury can be prevented by proper use of protective equipment. Eye and face hazards are identified and communicated to employees. Appropriate personal protective equipment is provided. Eye and face protective devices will be worn by all employees outside office areas within the facility, or when there is a reasonable probability that eye or facial injury could occur. Accident investigation and reporting procedures provide a basis for studying and recording the reasons an accident occurred, identifying existing or potential job hazards, and determining how best to eliminate these hazards. All employees will use a hazard report form to report potential or known hazards. Work practices involving welding, cutting, and brazing equipment or operations are OSHA compliant. Fire and explosion pose a serious risk to employees during welding, cutting, and brazing operations. Employees are trained to deal with such risks and are required to comply with the rules set forth in training. Employees welding on platforms, scaffolds, or runways are protected against falling. Employees place welding cables and other equipment clear of passageways, ladders, and stairways. Employees are provided with proper protective equipment. Supervisors ensure use of standardized safety-related work practices to prevent injuries resulting from hot work accidents. We evaluate and inform employees of the hazards of all elevated surfaces over 6 feet within our facilities. The workplace is assessed before each assigned job for potential fall hazards. Proper fall arrest equipment is used for work requiring fall protection when elimination of the hazard is not possible. A fall hazard assessment sheet will be used to document assessments. We have a written safety plan concerning trenching and evacuation. Trench safety rules concern sloping of trenches and use of trench boxes, providing for safe egress, avoiding hazards associated with water accumulation, protection from superimposed loads and surface encumbrances, and required personal protective equipment. Rules concern testing and controls for hazardous atmospheres, warning systems for mobile equipment, exposure to vehicular traffic, and exposure to falling loads. A training program is provided for all employees exposed to fall hazards in the work area. Our management is committed to providing a safe and healthy work environment for employees. Management commitment and employee involvement are complementary and form the core of an effective safety and health program. Worksite analysis identifies existing and likely hazards and conditions. Hazard prevention and control is then accomplished in a timely manner. Safety and health training are essential components of an effective safety program and are regularly conducted by our company. Falls, spills, items on floors, electric cords, doors and drawers, stairs, expecting the unexpected, broken glass, overhead items, keeping water and electricity apart, cords, plugs and appliances, electrical leaks, reporting electrical trouble, fires, gas leaks, proper clothing, warning signs, chemicals, horseplay. Work to prevent accidents and keep safety first. It is important that you embrace this organization's safety program. Safety is your responsibility and your participation is mandatory. We welcome your suggestions, ideas, and recommendations in an effort to improve our safety program. We function as teams, but rely on individual effort for safety. Hazard identification is a daily practice, and subsequent hazard elimination is a daily work requisite.
Welcome to Bowden Construction Company.